Smagisa, you seem like a really nice lady. I just want to get that out of the way, because you really do. You seem like you're a very nice woman. If I was in your congregation before, more than likely, I'd think, hey, that's a nice woman over there. But please, please, you need to think about what you put on video and then post to YouTube. You've got to do research. You've got to understand what you're actually saying before you post it to YouTube. Because what you're doing is you made a comment on the Silent Lambs press conference, and basically what that was is they went outside Bethel with little lambs, little stuffed lambs, and they put them down in the front of Bethel, and they had a press conference there talking about what Silent Lambs was and why it was in existence. And you basically posted something saying that it's not the organization's fault. You should blame yourself if you didn't go to the police. You have no idea what the story of Silent Lambs was, do you? At all. You just watched that video, you watched it, what was it, 2-minute clip from the press conference, and then made an automatic assessment based on the years of indoctrination that you've had. The problem is that you don't understand what they're fighting against. So let me give you an example of what Silent Lambs is fighting against. If you lived in my home state of Rhode Island, let's say that you were an elder and a child came up to you saying that their father molested them. Okay? What would you do? Now, bear in mind, you're an elder. They came to you as a point of authority saying that their parent was molesting them. What would you do? Okay, well, it's obvious that the parent isn't going to report this to the police because they'd be reporting themselves. So you as an elder, would it be your responsibility to go to the police? Is your answer yes? You're wrong. An elder in Rhode Island, since it is not a reporting state, would do absolutely nothing. Nothing whatsoever. They wouldn't even place a call to child services to tell them that the child went forward. The best thing that they would do is maybe tell the child to go to a counselor at school who would call the police. Let's say you're in my neighboring state of Massachusetts, which is a reporting state. Again, same example. You're an elder. A child comes up to you saying that their parent molested them. What would you do? Alright, so you're in a reporting state. You're going to say, well, I would call the police, absolutely, right away. Well, yeah, you would, but there'd be a couple caveats onto that, wouldn't there? What you would do is you would go to an anonymous payphone, one that can't be traced. Then you would leave an anonymous tip. Don't leave your name, nothing to back it up. Just an accusation of molestation was given to you by this certain child. Then child services would investigate it from there. But do you really think that the parents would do a whole lot to help the investigation of child services if they're the ones molesting them? Or let's not even say it's a parent. Let's say that it's a family member. Do you think that they're really going to help the investigation if it's a family member? 9 times out of 10, they're just going to sweep it under the carpet to make their family not look as bad. But the elder doesn't help the situation at all by either not reporting it or reporting it anonymously. Half the time, child services won't even investigate a claim made by an anonymous source because there's a good chance that it's a fake report. Now, that's not the only thing that Silent Lambs is fighting against. You see, there's a great law that if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're accused of something, you have to have 2 witnesses to that in order for any action to be taken. It's a fantastic law if, say, you've smoked. If someone accuses me of smoking, I can say, no, I never smoked. And if no one can corroborate that witness to say that I smoked, well, no action is going to be taken. Now, let me ask you, can you think of any crimes that this may not work out too well for? Let's see, murder, well, no, there'd be a body, so that would kind of corroborate, and plus there'd be all DNA evidence and things like that. Okay, so, what could it be? Maybe, I don't know, maybe sexual assault? I don't know of any sexual assaults that, occur in front of witnesses, especially child molestation. At least in the case of a woman being raped, she can go right to the police and get a rape kit done. What about the case of a child? Well, the child can't really get to the police on their own, and 9 times out of 10, they're not even going to know to go to the police. So do you think the law of 2 witnesses to any crime is really going to help a child who's been molested? Even if they go to the elders, If the elder is in a non-reporting state, they won't help them. And if they're in a reporting state, they're going to file an anonymous claim, which won't help them. And if they tell their parents, if it's a family member and their parents decide not to report it for whatever reason, well, that doesn't really help them either. So what do you think Silent Lambs is really fighting? Are they fighting an organization? You know, I know you say it's God's organization and everything, but even you must admit that God's organization is run by imperfect men. And these imperfect men can put in imperfect policies. So what is Silent Lambs really fighting? Silent Lambs is fighting an imperfect policy that doesn't protect children. The only thing their policy has created is a pedophile paradise. A pedophile paradise where they can molest as many children as they need to, as long as there aren't two witnesses, and as long as they can guarantee that their parents aren't going to report the molestation. And they can always go to the parent of the molested child and tell them, you know, if you do report this and an investigation is done, that would actually be bringing reproach upon Jehovah's name, right? Because that's actually in the scriptures. They can scripturally counsel them not to bring your brother up against charges and not to bring reproach upon Jehovah's name. So those are two scriptural reasons why they can get the parent not to report the case of molestation. The molester, the pedophile, already knows that the elders can't do anything to help them. So Silent Lambs wants to change that. Silent Lambs wants to make it so that if a case of molestation is reported to an elder, the elder is required to go to the police and report it. Not only that, but leave his name, his contact information, tell them why, how, and where it was reported, regardless of whether the parent wants to report the abuse or not. See, and the other thing you did is you blamed Mr. Bowen. You said, Mr. Bowen, well, you should blame yourself because you actually didn't report any molestation. If anything could be further from the truth, it would be that last statement. Mr. Bowen was an elder. Mr. Bowen found out about molestation in his congregation. He called the legal department at Bethel to find out what he could do. Once he found out that he couldn't do anything, he went to the police anyway. When he went to the police and the other elders found out that he went to the police against Bethel's legal advice, he was disfellowshipped. Had nothing to do with any of his any sin that he did. The only thing he did was he reported to the police that a child accused a person of molesting them. That was his sole crime to be disfellowshipped. So by saying that it's his fault for not reporting, no, it is absolutely not. Anyone else you could make an argument for, but Mr. Bowen is probably the only person that this doesn't apply to whatsoever. He absolutely did go to the police. He was punished because he went to the police. Again, he was counseled with the scripture, bringing a reproach upon Jehovah's name. So really, Smagisa, you have to do research before you post these YouTube videos. You have to understand what you're talking about before you post these YouTube videos, because quite honestly, it's making you look completely ignorant. Absolutely ignorant. And not only that, by proxy, you are making the organization that you represent look completely ignorant as well. By the way, so Smiggies, I guess I could say congratulations. Congratulations, because you brought me out of my month-long vacation that I was taking from making YouTube videos, just out of sheer ignorance of subject. Smokey, great job. Janice Vindy, great job. AKA Sheffer, I would love to see what you would have to say regarding Smagisa's amazing video here. And Lucius hasn't done anything yet, but, well, Lucius, I'd enjoy seeing what your response might be to Miss Smagisa's video. Oh, and Yahweh to Hell. Yahweh to Hell's probably just going to make fart jokes, though, to be fair. But anyway, Tim Kilgore, signing off.